this is my company. We can do whatever I want to do.
Oh man, this is so nice.
Yeah, I'm the boss. Of course I can.
No one knows what it's like to be
a madman.
Willis.
Is that how it goes, madman?
Yep, it is. It is.
Just try to keep it.
Why is he touching my mic?
Is that code word for penis?
Yeah. You can hear me breathe in.
Sing me a song, Tad.
Oh man, why
Tad
when you
Fuller?
say that I forget everything?
I
Every time you say
know,
that, I forget every word.
Because you know lots of songs.
Yeah.
Not gonna take my land.
I was trying to think of this song we just did and the rap in it.
You should think of this song called "Not Gonna Take My Land."
Not gonna take my land.
Uncle Sam.
Uncle Sam. Can I move this? Can
Yes,
I adjust
you
this?
can.
Or you
You can do anything you want.
Okay. Has anybody ever broke it?
We have.
Are you going to tell me when the podcast starts, or is it already
It's
started?
already started. Here, listen. Do you know this one?
Yeah.
How about this one?
Yeah, that's the testicle. I mean, testimony. Ooh, I like that.
David Ray.
David produced that? Dude, that is cool.
Yeah.
Pre-programmed that is awesome, man.
Yeah.
Have you figured out how to do beats and stuff with it?
I have this.
Okay, I know. But like you get another one, like you can do beats with it while it's playing. You just do.
But I have this.
I got it.
You want to use? I can give you this music for your podcast.
Dude,
You could use this one.
am I ready for a podcast right now?
You could use that one. That could be your intro for all your videos.
Can I push the button?
That one.
John
Yeah, go ahead and
Willis.
push it. See?
Dude, that is so cool.
Chad Fuller, what's up? What do you do?
Man, I do a lot of things, actually. Let's start with the first one.
How did we meet?
Oh, we met through you when you first moved here. You moved here. You came to my parents' house.
You were about this tall.
Dude, I was shorter because I've grown a lot, guys. Look at me.
That's the one time your mom had me over for dinner. She's never invited me
correct.
back. I'm
She
not
hasn't.
quite sure what happened there.
Yeah, well, you can't stand on the table and dance around like a hooligan and expect to come back.
I feel like Jaeger was there. Was Jaeger there?
No, he wasn't there. Just you and Amanda. Yeah. Is there a certain proximity I have to be towards the mic? Why does this mic smell? Who was last on this?
That's
Smells
air.
funny.
It's a cologne called Aerosol.
Aerosol.
Or WD-40.
Aerol.
Aerial Sol.
Aerosol.
What did Aerial Sol?
That's what you're smelling.
Oh, okay.
Scully is not present. He didn't make it back in time. I'm not sure what happened.
Okay. I heard he does yoga, right?
Weather, perhaps.
Weather permitted?
He was doing firearms yoga. He meditates with
Does he?
guns, kind of naked. Weird
Does he?
stuff, but I mean, whatever he's into.
Not everybody has a beard like Scully. So
He says he hates the beard. I'm like, why don't you cut it off? He says, because every time I think I'm going to cut it off, I walk out and somebody's like, nice hair, bro. I like your beard, son.
I like your beard.
And he's like,
It's
that's
the beard, man.
He's
It's
like,
the beard.
it's a sign from God that I shouldn't cut my beard off.
Okay. He knows when he cuts the beard that he'll look gay.
Young.
Just gay.
Young. Are you going for the Amish look? Is that why you keep yours?
Man, it's wintertime, so I am going to look like a bear, and I'm going to feed like a bear.
Are you doing No Shave November?
No, I don't really participate in anything like that. Anything anybody does, I don't do. So I don't like influence, and I don't like what everybody's
So
doing.
what do you do that people don't do?
What do? I work really hard, and I love work at the same time. So they don't love that work that they do.
Yeah, it's different,
I love
right?
it. When I get up, I work, and when I get off work, I go to work.
What do you think the difference is? Why?
I think it's because probably either influence, definitely influence, because not a lot of influence is good. Most influence is bad. It's people they hang around with. It's their work environment, the people they're hanging around with, and probably the person that they're going home to see every night. So
Huge difference, yeah.
yeah, for sure. So they just don't have they don't honor the responsibilities they have.
Do you think it's as important what you do as much as it is what you don't do?
Oh yeah, for sure. You should think about what you don't do when you're not doing what you're,
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, if it's not, well, it's yeah.
Well,
It's just-
like drinking, right? I stopped drinking.
Mhm.
Not I've never considered myself an alcoholic. I've never had a
Yeah.
ticket. I've never been drunk in public. I don't even drink in public. But I've just stopped drinking, and I
Yeah.
feel like I have a little more energy, right? I don't have to sleep in as far in the morning, right? So I can catch that 4:30 faster.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm proud of you on that. You
I'm-
told me that today, and I was like, that's
So
something I need to stop.
and I find myself wanting to drink just because I want the drink, right? And it's not even about. I drink a very small cup, margarita. I mix it with a sugar-free lemon lime soda. It's the salt, a ton of salt, right? And I just drink that, and I feel like it helps me go to sleep easier.
And it's energy.
Yeah.
Like you want instant happiness, that's instant happiness.
But when I think about it, I would sit there with a laptop in my lap, peck around and surf, Facebook really on the laptop.
Yeah.
Whereas when I don't drink, I go in the room and I actually go to sleep probably an hour earlier.
Yeah. Yeah. Calcium. Beer or alcohol takes calcium from the bones.
Okay.
So you need calcium and you need magnesium, and that's two things that alcohol will take from you.
So I don't drink any beer. That's a loaf of bread the way I see it.
Yep.
I just want to look different in the mirror.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll lose that gut, man.
Yep. And that's what I'm after.
Yeah.
I want to look more like Brendel.
Do you? Okay. All right. Captain Vegetable over there.
Captain Vegetable. So are you vegetarian?
Yeah. Pretty
Like
much.
100% no meat?
100%. I eat some eggs and some cheese, some dairy, but yeah, I'm pretty much, man. If I could just eat a watermelon every day, I'd be cool with it.
I love watermelon.
Yeah, so I mean, like it's a complete package. It's like a bottle of water.
Makes me pee a lot.
It does. And
I
sometimes
want to eat it before I go to bed with a lot of salt.
when you eat the wrong watermelon, it makes you.
The wrong watermelon.
Yeah, when you eat the wrong watermelon,
What does that mean?
that's somebody who grew it and it's rotten, either rotten or it wasn't grown correctly or
I
something.
just think it has a lot of water content in it.
Yeah.
So seeded or non-seeded?
Seeded always, brother.
How come?
Yeah, because anything that's good will produce, and it will replicate.
So at the old house in Cedar Lakes, we had straw bales out there for I don't know why we had them out there, decoration or something. But I would take all the watermelon seeds. I eat watermelon when I'd go to bed at night and then set it next to the bed. And all the seeds would be there. Well, in the morning, I'd take those seeds and put them on the straw bales, and they grew watermelon every year.
That's excellent.
I'm really good at growing watermelon vines. I'm not very good at producing watermelons, right? There's 6 or 7 out there. And I'm like, these aren't quite big enough to eat. So I always leave them attached and they yellow. And then I've never eaten a watermelon that I've actually produced.
Yeah.
But watermelon guys have lots of stories, right? When you find the watermelon guy at the farmer's market, he's very happy to talk to you and tell you all about watermelon and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, where does this come from? Did you produce these? What fields were in here? What inputs? Like, they're always very friendly people.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing that's really cool, you threw those seeds in a hay bale. Did you know that you can take most seeds from those types of fruits that you've eaten, you can put them in a Ziploc bag with a little bit of dirt, moisten the soil, and put it up in a tree branch. Leave it for a few weeks, come back, and you'll have some little seedlings.
Yeah.
So I did that with rambutan like a month ago because I got a shipment from a company, I Heart Fruit Box. I want to try some tropical fruit.
Is that out of Florida?
Yeah, tropical
Is that
fruit
the
farm.
banana place we were talking about?
Yeah. Same
Okay,
place.
cool.
And got some rambutan, and they're actually growing in my aquaponics system right now.
What is rambutan?
Rambutan is a spiky little bald fruit. And when you peel back the skin and you look at the inside, it's like this white, jelly type fruit.
Like a custard almost.
Yes, exactly. And when you bite into it, it's got a seed in the middle, but it's so good, man. It's like rambutan is like a lychee. A lychee is like a alligator strawberry, and they're really delicious.
So you know a lot about aquaponics. You have quite the aquaponics system, commercial even.
100%.
Like I've got this little thing that you put together for me, but it's nothing like what you have. What defines whether a plant will grow in aquaponics or will not grow in aquaponics?
So anything that is a root vegetable, okay, say potatoes, say carrots, anything like that is going to be a little bit harder because you need a medium. Like if you're going to do aquaponics with a root vegetable, then you need to have a media-based system. And that is like a big, huge bed. Say you built a square box that was a raised bed type frame, and then you put lava rock in it or LECA, light expanded clay aggregate. Then it has something for the roots to grow. Then you have some area where there's no water where you can have an actual good size root vegetable. Because if not, when it goes down in the water, which I say this, but I have grown some root vegetables in the aquaponics and it blown my mind. You can grow over 300 different types of fruits and vegetables in aquaponics. It's unbelievable because it's a complete ecosystem.
So like an ebb and flow kind of thing where it's gonna flood and then
flood and drain.
One minute out of every hour or something.
Yep.
I've recently seen social media posts where there's potatoes just out like growing in water.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen that?
I think that's what I'm talking about. Is I've done some turnips and some beets and just unusual things.
And they just grow in the water.
Absolutely. And then they're like taking and spreading out and breaking the styrofoam apart. They're getting so big, and I'm like, man, this is amazing. I'm about to start my aquaponic system again. I think I'm going to do watermelon.
You seem to go back and forth from I'm going to do aquaponics, and then you're going to do aquaponics on a much bigger scale. And then you're like, I'm not doing aquaponics. I'm selling the system.
Man,
like I look at your
the
system
wind,
and I'm
bro.
like, I could put a dolphin in that tank. Like your tanks were really big.
Yeah.
The whole aquaponics thing, like I've always known about aquaponics, and basically from the prepper community, especially even as a young child, right? We always heard aquaponics is amazing. They do it in Africa. You can have tilapia in tanks, and then you just have chickens above, and the chickens poop in the water, and the tilapia eat the poop, and now you can harvest the thing, and then you can grow all these vegetables. But you walked in here with a bag of lettuce one day, and I'm like, I don't need any bullshit lettuce. And you're like, no, you have to try this lettuce. And it was a big bag, clear bag, and it was like puffed up. It was inflated. And you had 5 or 7 kinds of lettuce or whatever. And Chef Josh took that, and he was doing tri-tip, and he made these salads. And that was one of my favorite meals that he made because I just felt good. I didn't like you knew eating it that there was nutrients in it. It just felt different when you ate that. And then you decided you were going to go do hemp, and you stopped doing aquaponics. And Josh brought some, I don't know, Whole Foods or something in, and I'm like, this is bullshit. Like, I know we paid way more money for this stuff, and this stuff is trash.
Yeah, I was chasing the wrong thing at that time. Started something, learned a lot because I had to read books to be able to do it. Just like aquaponics, I had to read 3 books. And, when I dive into anything, I'm very obsessive about it. I think that's one of the traits that makes me successful to your point, when you're talking about you're like this, you're like that, you're like this, I'm like the wind, bro. Like that day and the reason I have a YouTube channel right now is because of John. It is because one day he said something to me, and what he said was how your kid's going to see you when you die. And I think I was trying to justify why I started my YouTube channel or not. And when I heard that, the knowledge was power, because knowledge is power, right? So when I got that, I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't know what I was doing. Started my YouTube channel, 300 videos that year, Then one day I did a video, and, I figured out the plan, what I was going to do, because the niches are in the riches. But back to aquaponics. Go ahead. What were we talking about with aquaponics?
I don't know what we were talking about, but you have far surpassed us on YouTube. Oh. And you started way after we did, right? Yeah. You say you started your YouTube because of something I said, but in just a couple of years, your YouTube is on a whole nother level.
Yeah, just the last couple of years, man. It's the plan. Once you start hearing what the audience is saying, and then, you start asking questions. You're always telling me call to action, Tad. And, if you ask, you can receive. You can get, whatever you're trying to get. You just need to ask. Some things you shouldn't ask for. But, I started, I'm 33, and I'm just doing what I'm doing. And these people are looking at me like, whoa, this guy has an ability. And I'm just thinking I'm just a regular person, which I am a regular person. But they started giving me my content. They gave me the questions become content. And then, then you start structuring your channel to where you're teaching, and then you have specific subjects, and you start speaking to the masses. And that's what YouTube you can really get a big following quick when you start speaking to the masses with your titles, and that's your question you're answering, and in the video you're showing what you're doing. And so it's just unbelievable. Yeah. Now I've got a plan. Now I know where I'm going. I'm unstoppable.
What is the plan?
The plan is to keep putting out content and trying to partner and collab with people that have a plan, because those people are the people that will never be stopped and will continue to grow. That's what I've realized is, you get with somebody like Roger Wakefield. I messaged Roger Wakefield, which he's going to hit me back. But this last week, I saw him big into plumbing. He's got a huge following, like 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. I hit him up. I messaged him. He looked at my channel. He hit me back the next day. He was like, hey, he's like, we need to chat. I got an idea. And that was like yesterday or the day before. I hit him. I'm like, hey, here's my cell phone. Here's my email. Boom. I can't wait because this guy's doing great things.
Where is he?
Texas. He's in Texas.
So you going to Texas?
I'll go wherever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go wherever. You know, you gotta, the opportunities don't last long. And there's a lot of people that say you can't search for, you don't have to search for opportunity, but that's a lie, bro. Like you literally have to dig for opportunity. Just like you're working late at night because you got to pay the bills. That's the same thing with opportunity. So
we were talking about that. We went, while we were waiting for Jeff to get here, I said, well, we need some pumpkins, you know? So we went to Jackson and there's 2 kids in there and it's weird. Like we've been to Sam's Club before and bought literally like a trailer load full of these tables and desks and stuff. And we couldn't get a forklift to save our lives. Right. We walked in there and I'm like, I need 100 pumpkins. And they just started counting them. They're like, right on, you pull up around back. And they saw the GoPro camera and he's like, yeah, I got a YouTube. And the other kid's like, yeah, I got a YouTube also. I do tobacco. So because we grow tobacco, YouTube has completely unmonetized us. And the other dude does car videos and does a little bit of rap video and stuff. And I said, hey, we're having Self-Reliance Festival. There's a lot of content creators. He's like, I'm there 100%. I'm definitely coming. I go, you know, it's a trip because for every 100 people I tell, hey, you should come to this thing or I'll send you this thing or whatever, only one of you guys ever reaches out. For every 100, like I'm giving you like extreme value for free. Like I don't want anything for it. I don't expect anything. And if I tell 100 people, they just don't. So it's like the call to action thing now. Like when people are like, hey, here's my business card. Nobody's ever going to fucking look at your business card. I'm like, look, hey, you got Instagram? Open your Instagram. Hey, that's me. Follow me right now, right? And they do, and now you have a dialogue. So tonight I'll be like, hey man, thank you so much for, you know, helping us load those things up. We've been to Sam's Club a dozen times. You are the only person who has ever fucking helped us. Like, thank you.
Yeah.
So there's that dialogue, right? So will he show up? Maybe he will.
You see the value, but they don't see the value. They don't know the value, but you're trying to show them the value because you realize what an opportunity it was for you.
It's actually super hard. Like it's almost like giving things away, right? You have this thing that you no longer want.
Try to hand. I'm going to show you what they do. Try to hand me the opportunity.
Yeah.
Whoa. What are you trying to do to me?
Yeah.
I just want to be in my space.
Yeah. It's
That's
weird,
what they're
man.
like.
I have buildings full of stuff because it's not that I guess I'm a hoarder, right? Crazy cat lady, but it's of value, right? I bought real stuff and I've now replaced it or I no longer use it. And when you try to give it away, there's a million questions about it, right? But if I put it out there with a price tag of $10, somebody will definitely come steal it.
Yeah.
It's just, it's bizarre.
People don't realize how easy this is. And I don't mean easy like there's no work. I just mean the equation for it. That's it. Like the equation. It's so simple. Check this out. John Willis is right now, he's doing his YouTube and he's doing videos and I know about it. So I'm going to go and I'm just going to start doing, I'm going to share his videos. I'm going to start sharing his videos. I'm going to create a group for John Willis on Facebook right now. And I'm going to start sharing all his videos of that Facebook. And then I'm going to start helping people to find his products. And then I'm going to start, you know, just making him blow up. All right. And then when I start helping him, he's going to reach out to me and he's going to go, dude, I really appreciate what you're doing. How can I help you? You can't get anywhere unless you're helping somebody. And this is what I've noticed, man. I don't have to worry about signing a contract with somebody I know that's got a good business that needs me to sell their product. All I got to do is find the distribution channels and hook them up and then get them the sales that they need to grow their company. And then they're going to pay me. Why? Because they love me. They want me to continue doing this. And I've done this over and over. And it's just now that's the formula. And I realize that.
It's providing value. You bring
Absolutely.
the value, right?
100%.
I get a dozen emails a day. And now they've gotten a little smarter, and maybe it still might be AI, right? They're like, hey man, I found your Instagram or I noticed your YouTube and I really like those motivational videos and I like that you get up at 4:30. So they're obviously watching something, right? They know something about the company, but then they spell the company name wrong. Or they're like, hey man, if you hit me up, I can build these short videos for you and really, you know, boost your algorithm. I'm never going to reach out blindly, right? But if you took the 5 minutes to build the video and sent a link to it, you would have my attention then. You would get my attention through the platform. You're never going to get me blindly through the email.
You know, I get those now all the time.
Yeah, where the fuck are they coming from?
But I always respond with, you're not going to do a better job than me. You can't do a better job than me. I grew my channel 300%, and I do it every single year in revenue and views alone. You can't grow a channel 300%. You haven't done that. Show me. And if they did do that, they wouldn't be reaching out to me.
But if you want a job, I got one for you.
Yeah, but it's just like these people, the SEO. That's the one you get all the time. SEO, you want SEO? SEO. Bro, what are you doing, man? You're working for $1. You're working for one project, you know? Don't long-term it. Don't short-term it. Long-term it, you know? Hey, I'm going to do 300 people's SEO this year, and I'm just going to do it, and then if they make any money, then we're going to get a percentage, you know? You know, it's just like somebody that sells a patent. They created this awesome product, right? They manufactured this great product, and then they sell it a little bit, but then a company comes along and they go, hey, I want to buy your patent. And then instead of doing what the dude did for Nike, where he gets a royalty, right, for the rest of his life, they go and they just take, $100,000, $200,000. They take that short term, and then they're pissed off and in full of regret because they could have got a royalty for the rest of their life. You know, people do this all the time. You know, they don't look forward to the future. They're in the present. They just get too excited and they just blow their shot. They blow what they could have had.
So what do you think what would you say your main business is? Like what is it you do the most of?
What do I do the most of? I do the most out of just HVAC. I go to work every day and I help operate a company with 10 employees, and I do service. I do sales and I do install. Mostly I do service. It's just hands-on labor work. Like that's what I do every day. You know, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. That's it.
And your father started that company?
He started that company. He gave me the greatest opportunity ever. And it's our responsibility to give our loved ones an opportunity like that, right? Like you know, it's not their responsibility to take it. They may not take it, you know. They may piss it away. But, you know, I realize now, I'm like, dude, I could have never got this far. I would have never got this. You know, of course it was up to me to take the flag and keep running. You know, but I took it to a whole nother level that I would have never been able to take it to. Right? I get an opportunity every day, not only to take my son to work, which is amazing, but to be able to have the best content and take my time. It doesn't take long now. You know, I do a 30-minute video in exactly 30 minutes. And then on my way driving home, I've already got the video edited. It's already published. When I get to the house, I get on the computer and I hit all my tags up, spend probably an hour to 2 hours a day on my content. But there's people out there that think that they need somebody to do all that stuff for them, but they really don't.
Where's the money come from?
Money comes from ad revenue, which is 50 to 60%. And then, that's about 50-50. And then members. I've got about 400 members that pay me every month.
And what is your membership levels?
Membership levels is 6 different levels, man. I've got $2, you can get my email. I got $10, you really like me. $25, you get all of my online courses. I've got about 5 hours worth of courses if you want to take your skill level to the top. You want to own your own business, know how to get employees. You want to know, customers. You want to know what to charge those customers. You know how to do an estimate, know how to price a job, know how to size equipment, know how to size ductwork, sales training, geothermal training. 5 hours of content, about 16, 17 videos that it took me about 15 years to get, you know, worth $2,500 probably, with over 2,500 service calls that I had to do to get it. But I've been to over 10,000 customers' houses over the last 15 years. But I've got that, and that's $25. And then we can go up $100. You can get my phone number. You can't call me all the time, but hey, in 10 minutes of that phone call, I can tell you exactly what size ductwork you need, or I can handle your problem in 10 minutes. Then we can go on up $250. You get a 1 hour phone call once a week. Then we can go to $500. And you can get a whole day, 1 day a week with me.
Guys ever just call you to talk about shit that has nothing to do with work?
They talk about YouTube. Like they see what I do. They go, hey, I really want to do YouTube. And you can call me about that. You know, I have homeowners call me. I've sent air conditioners all over the U.S. now. I've sent them to Ohio, and I've sent them to Florida, and I've sent them to just Michigan, and just all over the place.
Well, I know some air conditioning companies, some rather large ones, have blindly called you to come in and do instruction for
them. Yeah. So I've had a company call me, and they wanted me to go to a training lab and set up like the newest technology. It was a air-cooled modular chiller, and then, you know, this geothermal chiller or geothermal mini split system, which was pretty cool. And, you know, now I have companies hit me up. I could name several huge multi-million, billion-dollar companies that pay me for product reviews. And, now I'm getting into companies maybe sponsoring my channel. So that's like the next step. I'm walking lightly there because I know that the competition is going to be pretty big, because I love what I do with YouTube. It's not a job yet to me, but I know it'll get there, I'm sure.
What do you mean the competition?
Well, competition to get me.
So you don't want to lock in with the wrong company because somebody else is going to come along.
100%. Yeah.
Gotcha.
100%.
So could you lock in for like just, hey, we'll do this for 6 months, or we'll dabble our toes for 90 days, or did you lose sound? What happened?
Yeah, I guess I lost sound in one of my headphones. Brandel.
Is it still there?
It's in my left ear.
It's weird.
My right ear's not here anymore. How dareth thou loseth my ear?
Do you want different ones?
Whatever.
Do you have another set?
That's okay. I mean, I can be all right. I'll be all right. You gonna bring it to me anyways? Okay. Should I
Unplug.
Okay.
Plug in here. See if it's the cable or the headphones.
Got it.
You just went deaf in one ear is what happened.
I did, man. I felt like Helen Keller. I mean, halfway there.
You can see in both eyes here.
Dude, that's excellent. That's excellent. Where were we going?
Could you bring a vacuum over here and vacuum up this little bug?
If you need my vacuum pump, go get it in. It's in there.
His suck pump. It really sucks.
It's a sucker.
So,
yeah.
So Heat and Air.
Yeah.
Your dad started the company. It didn't start as Heat and Air though, right?
No, man. This guy was working on microwaves, 1985.
Microwaves.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he had a
Appliance store.
appliance store on Court Square.
100%.
For real.
Yeah.
Selling
I
fridges.
had to hear the story a million times.
I've never heard the story, so
It's
let
like
me hear it.
$300 Green Galaxy 300, and just working all the time. He tells me a story about Christmas, how he was out all night until like 5 or 6 a.m. He's like, because they did videos and they could see me and my brother and opening Christmas presents, and he was like, "You see that video?" He's like, "I had just got in that morning, and building a business is not for everybody, and it's hard, it's super hard. It takes years." And he did it, and he's got a lot of employees, but what he paid for it is the ultimate price. Ergonomics. Look at the body and what it does. Look at the mind. Not saying it's gotta be careful there. If you're around people all the time, this is all you do, you probably don't want to be around people as much. This is why he likes his alone time quite a bit. I notice now,
This little pest is
what did you,
driving me nuts.
who let that in the building? Is that from the aquaponics system?
So, do you think you will continue the company, or will the company evolve into what will you be doing in let's say 5 years from now?
Oh, dude, there's no telling. 5 years. Ooh,
Let's say 1 year.
1 year. I hope to be doing some cool shit. I love doing new things and learning. I love doing things that I don't think I can possibly do. That's what I like. That's what I've been doing for a long time. I've been accepting opportunities that I didn't have any clue about what I was doing, but I ended up doing it, and it worked out great. And, building things. I like manufacturing. I've been building these surgical slush machines, and that's really cool. Knowing the fact that I play a role in saving people's lives every year now, that's cool. But
explain to people what that is.
A surgical slush machine is something that's used in the OR, in the operating room, and I built 4 for Vanderbilt Hospital this last year. It's a machine that typically costs about $50,000 to $80,000, and it makes surgical slush. And what you do is you use it whenever you have open heart surgery or kidney transplant or organ transplant. A typical machine will go through about 2,000 open heart surgeries a year. I didn't know anything about it. I was approached. I was shown one that had already been built and basically just replicated it. And used it and built it, and it looks really nice. But I built 4. They're in use right now in Vanderbilt Hospital. Since then, I've refurbished some for Orange County Hospital in Florida. I got a contract with hopefully a company or a hospital in Vegas, and just got a guy that owns a company that it's like super, just like go, doesn't sleep, works a lot, trying to make something big happen, and he's willing to just stay on the phone and do whatever it takes to get these contracts because he knows he's got me now. See, we're the only one of 3 companies in the U.S. that builds these surgical slush machines. So, and he had a contract and didn't have anybody to do it. And then I came along, and then we built it, and or I built it.
How did that happen?
I actually met him. He moved from Washington about 4 or 5 years ago. He called me in. I went in there for an estimate, met him and his brother real quick, gave him an estimate, did the job. And then his brother was watching my YouTube channel and was like, hey, give Tad a call, give Tad a call, give Tad a call, give Tad a call. And then he hit me up and dropped off these machines. And I was like, sure, I got all this other stuff going on, but sure. I brought them all to my shop, put them in the corner. They sat there for 2 weeks. I didn't touch them. And then he hit me up. He's like, hey, man, did you get these done? And I'm like, nah, I didn't really look at them. Dude, come by my office, man. We need to talk. And I'm like, I didn't realize the money that was on the line. And like, it really got him out of a hard time. Like, he literally needed to pay some loans off. This was the big money getter because he sells not only surgical slush machines, but he sells polymer, which he makes. He uses polymer, rolls of polymer to make disc drapes, which go inside warmers and the surgical slush machines that go up and down. And then he also sells warmers, right? And these sit on the side of the surgical slush machines and they warm the saline. Okay. You take saline, you put it inside the disc drape, you push the button, it turns the compressor on, you push another button, it turns an auto stir on. The auto stir goes up and down. The disc drape is on top of it, and it takes and makes that bowl filled with surgical slush. It's like slushy, but it's saline, right? It's just saline water inside the disc drape, inside that surgical slush machine, and then saline water in the warmer. Okay. Warmer keeps the saline 100 degrees, and this warmer, this surgical slush machine keeps, that's cold, So yeah, that's it.
That's wild.
Looks like a water fountain, man. It's really cool.
Who's the dude that I know from SRF that is tied in somehow with that?
Okay, so, he's not tied in with it, but he's a guy that I spoke to and kind of got some knowledge about it. Like, because I'll never forget the first time we met, too. It's hilarious, man, because we're standing in here and we're talking about cryptocurrency because I did
here?
No, we're not standing here.
Okay.
We're actually, I was speaking at SRF and I was speaking about HVAC and I was speaking about cryptocurrency. And I'll never forget, you thought Tim was saying something cross to me.
Oh.
And you were like, well, why don't you show him what you did, blah, blah, blah.
I said that.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. And I was like, Tim was like, no, I was just doing this. And they were like, oh, okay, because
I'm about to tackle you and rub you in the gravel.
Get you, man.
Oh, I don't remember that.
But Tim Riley is a guy that's in Nashville area, and he is, he's very knowledgeable about instrumentation and hospitals, and he works for a company that's kind of like competition for. Got it.
So he shows up at some of like the self-reliance, homesteading meetups and stuff, and I liked the dude.
Oh, he's great.
But one day he said your name, and I had no idea that you had even known him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And he's super nice. In fact, my son went to the hospital and it spent 4 days in the ICU. And Tim actually drove down here. He was on his way back from Memphis. He went out of his way to come here and brought me a bottle and my wife a bottle of some wine and some liquor.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
So tell me about the snake bite. I remember seeing on social media, Jackson, that's your son's name, had been bit by a snake.
Yeah.
I saw the fang marks. I saw the dead snake. It was definitely a copperhead.
Yeah.
And
cottonmouth.
Cottonmouth. Even worse.
Yeah.
Even worse. And I remember talking to you very briefly, and I said, hey man, I've actually been through this.
Yeah.
I was bit. Here's what to expect. This is what's going to happen in the next 24 hours. Start when you first heard about it, what did you hear when he had gotten bit?
Okay. So I'll just say I was down at the cabin. We had just got there. We just finished playing paintball. It was 6 o'clock, 6:30 in between there. And Jackson comes inside and he is screaming, holding his hand, and there's blood all over his hand. And he's just like, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. And he was just like, I said, what's going on? He's like, I was bit by a snake. And I just go, where's the snake? And I just start screaming, where's the snake? And he's not answering me. And I go to his sister. I'm like, where's the snake? And she's crying. I'm like, where's the snake? Like, dude, tell me where the snake is.
Man, I see your father in you so much.
And she can't tell me. So I'm like, go into the woods now. And I just go to the woods. So she starts walking in the woods, and I'm screaming at her. I'm so sorry I screamed at her, but I had to scream at her. And I was just so upset. Where's the snake? And she can't find it. I go back in the house. I'm like, get activated charcoal. Put it on his hand. Give me a minute. I run out in the woods. I am searching. He said something about a log. I'm like, okay. I see it. I run towards it. I see it on the ground. I just grab it, man. And I just squeeze it and I just run back to the house. And I said, get in the car now. And I tell Brittany it's Cottonmouth. He gets in the car. I hold the snake. He's right here. He's crying. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I take off down Eva Road, son, 100 mile an hour. I pass every single car I came to. When I hit the stop sign at the Court Square, I passed people at the stop sign. I was honking. Nah. I get to the hospital. I run inside. I said, my son's been bit by a snake. I need some antivenom. And I said, I was screaming though. I was like, can you handle this? Can you handle this? You know?
This is our hospital here.
Yeah, because I was wanting to cry. I was so emotional. But instead, I was filled with rage.
And they can't handle it.
Yeah. Oh, and dude. And they were like, and as soon as the receptionist seen me, she was like, the doctor came outside and he was like, can you take this snake outside? And I'm like, yeah.
You had the snake with you?
No, I was holding it the whole time, just squeezing the breath out of it. And so I get in there and the doctor comes outside and he looks at it and I said, can you handle this? And he's like, yes, we have antivenom. We have enough for 2 people. And I said, good deal.
In Camden here?
Yeah, they have enough for 2 people.
Really?
Yeah, so they take him in. 30 minutes after he got bit, he was getting antivenom. 30 minutes after he arrived at the hospital, he was up in the helicopter. He was headed to Vanderbilt. And I was just, man, I was a wreck because I can't bury my son. And I'll tell you the reason I can't. This lady told me this last week. She said, if you bury your dad or mom, it's like burying your past. If you bury your husband, it's like burying your present. If you bury your spouse, it's like burying your present. But if you bury your kids, it's like burying your future. So I can't do that. So, yeah.
So what happened?
He spent 4 days in the ICU.
So they fly him there. Do you fly with him?
No, my wife did.
Okay.
And then my mom, because she didn't want me to drive, my dad was like, get in with your mom. So she drove me. We got there. He received like 6 vials.
That's what I got was 6.
Yeah, he received like 6 vials, and it took like, I'm going to say like 2 and 3 days, man, for it to go down. But from his neck all the way down to his little finger where he got bit, he was just like ready to pop. It was so tight, man. It's unbelievable. And it damaged everything inside of his finger to where he can't move it no more. But dude, he crochets, he's rocking.
So I got bit. I was October 1st, 1986. I think I was 13 years old. Southern Pacific diamondback, about 18. Southern Pacific rattlesnake, not diamondback, but 18 inches. Caught hundreds of them. Had it in a bag, and I don't know why. I met John Wilson at the top of the canyon. He's like, "What'd you catch?" Because we would go out snake hunting. Yeah. I reached in with my left hand, and I'm right-handed, and there was 2 or 3 of them in the bag, and the sucker bit me. Rode home within probably 3 minutes. Mom was just coming home from work, worked at General Dynamics. Said, I've been bit by a rattlesnake, and we went to the emergency room, which was Sharp, which is a trauma center there in San Diego, and I was there within, I don't know, 30 minutes, but I'm like, Mom, you got to run the red light. And she wouldn't run the red light, right? I remember saying that. Roll in there, and 6 bottles of antivenom. They put me in a special care unit, which is 1 below critical. And the doctors were super cool, but there's this one doctor that kept talking about, I don't know, compartment syndrome. We're going to have to do a fasciotomy. I'm like, what's a fasciotomy? And they're like, well, that's when we cut your arm open. And I'm like, okay, I don't want that. Right. But you scare a kid to death with that shit. Yeah. But it was this one doctor, and I don't know whatever happened to that guy, but that's the only thing I remember. I remember all the doctors taking care of me and this one doctor scaring the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Went home the next day, and I think maybe because I'm bigger, I didn't have all of that, right? It wasn't all the way up to my neck and such. I was bit here. But I was out of school. I milked it, and I was out of school for 6 weeks, taking, like steroidal, anti-inflammatories and stuff. I did for years. And even now, if it's extremely cold outside, this thumb still turns white. When I used to go skiing, this hand would kind of be white, but this thumb, and you can feel the difference. This thumb feels how I think a thumb should feel, and this one's kind of loose and doesn't have as much tissue inside it.
Interesting. Yeah, we were not very happy, or my wife really wasn't. She's the one that, really gets anal on the doctors, but she was not happy with the doctors. But there was one expert there that dealt with snake bites, and she wanted to talk to her, and they wanted to wait a long time in between antivenom. And my wife was like, we will pick him up right now, and we will leave this hospital right now. So
where would you go?
You can either, I don't know. She don't care. She's not thinking clearly. She's just like, I want my son to be taken care of. She was like, he's not an experiment. He is not your experiment. So
is Nashville? You went to Vanderbilt?
I went to Vanderbilt.
Is that a poison center?
It is a place where they are training a lot of people. So
yeah,
they're training.
Learning college.
They're constantly training
because
people.
they have a reptile department, but not like San Diego Zoo has a huge reptile department, right? So they keep a lot of antivenoms at the hospitals, and then the zoo has it and can transport to a hospital.
How old were you?
13.
13, yeah, man.
But you have like venom centers, like in Arizona. There's a lot of venomous snakes in Arizona. San Diego has envenomations just because of the people close in nature and stuff. Whereas our snakes are not. I mean, it's a bad snake, but there's worse snakes out there for sure.
Yeah. What's the worst snake?
It's debatable, right? So coral snake's pretty bad because it's a neurotoxin, but there's very little envenomation from a coral snake because the coral snake doesn't have fangs like our pit vipers do.
Yeah.
Rattlesnake probably. Like when we moved here, I went hunting for snakes for years, like every day, looking actively for. I've never seen a rattlesnake living here in Tennessee.
Eva.
We have them. 100% we have them.
Yeah.
I can take you and show you cottonmouths almost damn when the water's frozen, when snakes, like we have cottonmouths and copperheads everywhere.
Yeah.
But I've never come across a rattlesnake out.
If you go towards Nathan Bedford Forest down there, they got them. 100%.
Yeah, Big Sandy too.
100%.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad he's alive, brother.
So do you think that's got the snake handling out of him, or you think he's going to become a herpetologist, or what do you think this is going to lead into?
I don't really know. He likes so many different things. I will tell you a funny story though. I've never been bit by a snake until the exact week after he was bit. The Sunday after he was bit on a Sunday at 6:30, I was bit on a Sunday because I saw this gigantic snake behind my chicken pen, and it was so huge, and I was like, yes, because I just love that, right? So I tried to grab him. I grabbed him wrong. He bit me twice. Well, the funny thing was my daughter was right beside me, and she just went through hell with my wife.
Yeah.
And I just look over, and she just screaming and crying. I'm like, it's fine. It's not a non-venomous snake. It's got round pupils that are black. It's not slit, but it looks like a venomous because of the patterns. So I take the snake, get in the car with her. Funny instance again. I get home, I get out of the car, and when my wife sees me, she's outside with Jackson, she's like, why are you doing this to me?
It was a chicken snake
it
or
was
something?
a chicken snake, yeah.
Yeah.
But she's just, like, why, Dad? Why,
So we've got rat snakes on the property here. You're going to, they're everywhere in Tennessee. They're just, and I mean, they get in your house, they're in your attic. We actually caught one up in the crawl space. A baby had gotten up there, and we got it on a glue trap. For mice, glue traps are terrible on reptiles. Like you're not rescuing them. You just need to dispatch it. They're everywhere for sure. Like I see them. Yes, they will eat eggs. Yes, I see them in the nest boxes. They don't eat chickens. Like people say possums. Maybe possums do, but I mean, I've gone into the...
Oh, possums will tear a chicken up, bro.
See, I've gone into the nest boxes, and there's been chickens sleeping with possums. I've never had damage to a chicken. The possum will eat some eggs. I got a possum living on the front porch right now.
That's a possum that's been rehabilitated by John Willis.
Maybe.
John Willis will rehabilitate your possums for you. Now, possums in my neck of woods, the raccoons, they will tear a guinea up.
Raccoons will.
They will tear a chicken up,
It's rare that they get a guinea because guineas typically sleep up high in trees. Like all my guineas are in the pine trees. So there's not any guinea damage.
Yeah. Got it. Interesting. Yeah, I've noticed some possums around here, though. They're inside the building in a cage because you've made them your friend.
Not anymore. So the way they were in the cage, we actually did have 2 possums that we raised up from babies. We had them for years. But we were filming out back, and there was a terrible smell, and there was a dead possum out there. And it was a female, and there was no babies in her pouch. A couple weeks go by, and I'm out there. I go out every morning and walk around the pond and feed the fish by hand. Really, I should use a deer feeder to feed the fish. But anyways, I'm out there, and as I'm walking back, that giant burn pile back there, there's 2 little possums, and they're looking, and I'm like, oh, possums. So I go to pick them up. There's 3. I get 2 of them, and the third runs into the wood pile. So the 2, I bring them inside, and they're tiny. And I'm like, here, Amanda, feed these like you feed these baby cats. So we put them in a rabbit cage, and we've got these snap together cages, but I hadn't hog ringed them together properly. And the cats are, looking at little mice, so we can play with these things. Well, they got out. So they're out 6 months ago. They're loose in the building, and I just assume we haven't seen them. There's nothing in here for them to eat or drink. They have to have left the building. Well, Amanda's like, hey, come catch this possum. And I'm like, there's no damn possum in here. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, the cats have this possum trapped, and it's mean, and it's one of these possums. I don't know where the other one is. So I take it, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to put it in the cat box, because we made these boxes for the cats so that when it's cold, they can get in there and huddle up. Well, the possum has been in there for like 6 weeks, and now it's twice the size. Legit. So I do a fridge clean out, and any meat that has bones in it, like chicken, we don't ever feed it to the dog. Everything goes to the animals. But the meat with the bones, I put on the front porch, and the chickens the cats eat around it, and then we just throw the bones away. Well, this possum's been grabbing these chicken breasts that we haven't used and pulls them into his box, and he's just eating them. And then a couple of days ago, the possum disappeared. I'm like, okay, well, he's gone out on his own. He's now big enough, and he's going to be the strongest possum out in the neighborhood. So yesterday he comes back. He's back in the box. And then Brandle's like, hey, the possum's gone? So now it's gone again. So
do you think it ate one of the cats?
No, the cats are all, we have a rabbit out there, and it's not one of our rabbits. I'm guessing it came from across the street. So the rabbit got away from the crazy lady across the street selling rabbits on the side of the road, made it across the highway, and has ended up here. It's not like I'm not missing any rabbits, right? But it's a huge rabbit. It's bigger than any. I should capture it and use it in the breeding program. But the rabbit is out there with the cats, and it jumps right up on tables and shit. It sleeps with the cats. It eats cat food. I see it eating cat food all the time. So it's the biggest rabbit we have on the property, and it's not in the cage.
So 2 things: either 1, somebody around here is having possum dinner, or 2, I forgot the second one. But I bet you. Yeah, I forgot it. So.
All right.
Yeah, man. This has been fun, man. I've enjoyed this. You have such a good setup.
It's all Brandle.
And your cameraman, he really.
It's Brandle. And Austin went and bought all the mics and brought all the mics in.
Very cool, Austin.
And I'm like, I want the Joe Rogan setup.
I want Joe Rogan's viewership.
I just wanted the red cord. I still don't have the red cord.
Yeah. Joe Rogan's super cool.
Seems fun.
Yeah. I want to be on his podcast.
You should.
I wonder if he'll try to make me eat elk, not milk.
Would you eat elk?
In the right situation, maybe. I don't know. I've never really thought about it. I've eaten elk, but I've eaten everything. Everything. I love these mics. Brandel really caters to you. You know that? It's really nice. I mean, not to you, to me, because my mic messed up, or my headphones messed up, not yours. So, but what happened to Scully? That's what we really want to know. And that's what we're trying to get to in this podcast here.
So they went to Texas.
Okay.
For a rifle class.
Got it.
Him and some lifelong friends. They all went into Texas for this class that Tavor put on. They make a carbine, the Israelis use. He was supposed to be back today because we're doing a giveaway. I keep pointing here because there used to be a bunch of gear here we're giving away. So we'll do that next week. You came over. We're working on the AC set. Anytime Tad's around, I stop what I'm doing and try to spend time because I'm gonna walk re-energized, right? Everybody's contagious, so you better make sure that you want to catch what you're going to catch. And anytime you're around, I always feel better when you left, even if I don't feel bad or anything, but I always feel operating at a higher level. So I always stop what I'm doing, and same with him too. Same thing.
Yeah.
And we're always going to have some conversation, no matter what it's about. It's always going to be of value, right?
100%.
I've met your son a few times. He came in today and asked me a question, which was interesting. I didn't expect him to ask that, right? And I think I had a lot of information that he wasn't expecting me to know.
Oh, yeah.
Which was about safes. And I really thought he was going on, he was asking me because, like, recently, there was a January 6th dude who was at the January 6th thing at the Capitol. they executed a search warrant in his house, and the safe company gave them a backdoor pass to the code so that the FBI or the task force could access his safe.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of talk in the community about these safes and how there's this backdoor generic code to get into all of them. Mm-hmm. So I thought that's where he was going with it, but it wasn't. It's that your son is 11 and he is earning some of his own money now through building these pot holders and towels and stuff. And I was just, he really caught my attention, right? And then when you said he buys his lunch every day, so that's why I wanted to have the conversation. Like, how much are these? How many do you have? What's the math on them? And then what's the downward departure? If I buy all of them right now so that you don't have to sell to 9 individual customers because there was 9 pieces, what kind of discount are you going to give me? And he'd never not heard that, right? But I guarantee he's going to know it next time. It's going to be built into the sales pitch when somebody hits him with that. So I think it surprised him too. And I'm like, you know what I'm going to do with these? I'm going to sell them for twice what you just sold them to me for.
Oh, and he said that when he left. He was like, John said he's going to sell them. He's like, I wonder if he'll buy more dish rags and then he'll resell them.
So he's going to be my wholesaler.
And check this out. When we sat down for lunch, he said, I know what I want to eat, and I'm paying for the meal. And we're sitting, because when I walked in, one of my technicians is there eating. And I was like, hey, Jackson, we'll eat with Roland. We go over, we sit down, and when he says, I'm paying for everything, he asked Roland, he's like, you want me to pay for yours too? And I was like, man, this little guy, I love you, man.
That's cool, man.
You know?
Where'd you guys eat?
We went to Mexican.
Okay.
Yeah.
El Velarde?
Yeah.
Do you know there's a new Mexican restaurant coming in?
Yeah, I don't have high hopes.
No, I never do.
I never do. But I hope, you know.
The talk of the town is whether they're going to have alcohol there or not.
The talk of the town is whether they're going to have alcohol and whether they're going to last and whether the kitchen's clean.
So you know why everybody's like, they can't have alcohol.
Yeah.
Because they're within 1,000 feet of a church.
Yeah. Or a school.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
or a Walmart.
And the people pissing and moaning about it aren't going to be customers anyways.
No, 100%, man.
It's bizarre. So, So when I'm like, how many do you have? He said 9. And you said, go get the truck. And I'm like, wait a minute. You're going to have him drive across my property and my buildings, an 11-year-old.
Yep.
In a big fucking 1-ton truck. How many times has he driven? When did he start driving?
He did it the other day on a video, you know, because he carries my tool bags and my torches and my nitrogen tank and my everything, vacuum pump, all that. He carries everything for me. And, you know, I'm constantly communicating with him what we need to do. And he's constantly talking to the customers, and I'll be out, you know, doing my thing. And if he gets a chance, he's inside the house and he's like looking at everything and talking to everybody. And what did you do and all this? So he's done it a lot. When we go to feed the animals, you know, I've had him drive me down the road, you know.
What does feed the animals look like? How far is that distance?
Oh, it's on the same property.
Okay.
So we can just pull out and go and hit the, 191 East Lake Street and then just go down and turn left and we're there. So I constantly have him, get out of here, stupid. I constantly have him driving, and I rented a mini excavator the other day, and
yep, every kid comes on the property. Like customers come here with kids. I'm like, you want to drive my tractor?
Yeah. First thing I did was put him on it, show him all the controls because I did a video about it. But yeah, I want him to know how to do everything because I don't want him to have to worry about money at all. I want him by the time he gets, the age of somebody graduating high school that he's already making so much money. He doesn't have to worry about that. He can worry about what we're actually supposed to do. One of the things I really like about John, one of the things that drives me to John is the fact that he's doing something that we're supposed to all do, okay? But not a lot of you are doing it. 90% of you are not doing it. You know what it is? It's growing out of the ground. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to till the ground. I don't know if he's doing it because he needs to be prepared. I don't know if he's doing it because he just likes the fact that trees look pleasant to the sight. I don't know if the fact that he likes it because they're good for food. I don't know. It could be just because he likes to go out there and talk to him or touch him with his hand. But either way, he's doing something that we're all supposed to be doing, right? The sun powers the plants grow, they power us, right? They power everything. They're pure life. This man's growing. He's growing all kinds of stuff. There's different people throughout history, like Ellen G. White, that I've read about that had vineyards and orchards, and I wish I had a vineyard and an orchard, but I'm going to put in the work one day when I get the money and the time, right? Or maybe I should just start now. But either way, I just love the thought of that, right? It's one thing you read in the Word. It says that we're going to have these vineyards and orchards and we're going to build houses, you know? So I just like the fact that you're growing. Like I don't know, what is it? Like, why do you like growing?
So I knew that we always should grow, but you're actually quite a bit of the catalyst to that, right? When you stop producing lettuce, I'm like, this is bullshit when we were buying really expensive lettuces for the salads. And you're like, well, I can put you this aquaponic system together, right? And you and Cody built the aquaponic system. And then we started growing stuff. But I just think that we should grow things. I mean, it's like all the rabbits, right? I don't eat the rabbits. I have eaten rabbit. I can totally sock it out, and in 90 seconds we can have dinner ready to go. I have it on the hoof, right? I continue to breed those animals and add new genetics in there should we ever need them. And then to justify the cost, because like we put in 900 fodder trees, right? We put in the micro swells and planted all those trees so that we could clip all the leaves off of there and feed them back to the rabbits if we need to, right? If pelletized feed became an issue. In the beginning of COVID, during the lockdowns and stuff, we weren't really sure. In the very beginning, like we acted like maybe this is real, right? Maybe people are going to drop dead. Maybe we need to lock in and kind of do our own thing. So I expanded. We immediately went and bought all the chickens we could get, and we went from maybe 50 chickens to 300 chickens, and then we ran 100 meat birds in case we needed to. We brought in freezers, we brought in the greenhouse and the row house, and then the rabbits, and then to continue to justify the cost of the feed, because we're using pelletized feed because it's so convenient. But what do we do with all these animals if we can't? So that's when the fodder system came in and the micro swales and stuff. But to justify we feed the pellets to the rabbits. We don't use the rabbits, but the manure, right? So you can grow a lot of stuff in Miracle-Gro soil. Really, you can probably grow in Miracle-Gro soil better than you can grow in real live soil the first year. But after that, it's just dead. It's just, there's no soil there. It's not real, right?
Yeah.
So adding that manure back in is direct. You can put rabbit manure right in a crop, right in the ground. We spread it around the fruit trees. And I like the way they look. I like how it's curated when you come in. I like nice, short, shaved grass. But then, meeting Billy Bond and those guys, they're like, hey, sustainable agriculture, alley cropping, row cropping, not row cropping, but bringing in animals, right? You need a ruminant. You need something with a hoof to build soil. Well, this whole place used to be a rock pit. It was literally a gravel pit. And when we scrape off or take tracked tractors and slide them sideways, there's nothing but dirt there, right? We've moved the living topsoil that's there. Well, all that topsoil that's there, we built that through bringing in thousands of dump trucks of, wood chips that have broke down over time, running those 23 sheep, those goats over the top, and now we have sheep. Well, it's a self-feeding circle, right? We have to have grass to feed the sheep. And then if you want to grow proper grasses, you need sheep to till that soil with their hooves, and they eat. And ideally, you want to rotate them every couple of days or have enough soil where you only want them to eat the top third, the seed heads. Because when they're feeding off of the ground, now they're eating their own manure, and now you have to vaccinate them. We don't have to vaccinate any of these animals because we constantly rotate them. We take the baby rabbits, and to cut the pelletized feed bill, we put the baby rabbits on grass, and we have them in a cage, and we move that cage every day. They shave that grass down. They poop all over that grass, pee all over that grass. We move it, and you can see it especially in the drone shots on the day on the compound videos, kind of my homestead farm type videos. You can see when I shoot the drone shots, especially like in the spring and the summer, you can see the progression of 30 days almost where we've moved those. And where they were 30 days ago, it's like it's 100 volts of green. Whereas where we just moved them from yesterday, it's yellow, but 2 days, 3 days ago, it's starting to get green. And they eat the stuff they want, and then they manure that out, and it basically reseeds it. So we can take a field that's just trash, as far as nutrients to the animal, feed it a decent, we can take hay, rolled out hay or whatever. They're going to eat what they want out of there, and they're going to reseed it. And when you look at that field next year where we had them this year, it's just this tall grass, and it doesn't require as much water. And if you do cut it down, that grass is everywhere. It's not just in clumps like when you cut down like orchard grass or, just inexpensive field grass, like round rolls. When you cut that shit down, there's really nothing there. It's just dirt, right?
Yeah.
Whereas when you are running animals, the animals fix all of the problems.
100%. So you like the lost knowledge.
I do, yeah.
So
and that, like this shirt, right? We call it prepping.
Yeah.
Grandma called it Tuesday.
Yeah, but you like it because you like the lifestyle and the culture. You like that.
I do.
You like convenience.
Very much, very much. Yeah, I used to, when I was a kid, I thought I was going to be a survivalist, right? And that became a bad word, and survivalist because we're young and we're dumb and nothing can stop us, right? We're just going to run to the woods and we're going to hide out in a cave somewhere. But then you get in a relationship, right? And you have a wife and you have children. Well, that all goes out the window when you've got a 1-year-old, 2-year-old. You can't run real far with them, and they don't know to be quiet. And so now, how do we build community, right? Nowadays, when I was growing up, when I was a child, and my mom would go to work, I would stay with grandma and grandpa, right? And we don't have that anymore. We take all of our elderly people and we warehouse them. We put them away when they can't care for themselves, and we, out of convenience, we push them away. And they hope that we'll come see them, and year after year goes by, and then they die alone, right? So we use the excuse we can't leave because we have our kids or whatever, right? So ideally, what's the best situation? You buy a little bit of property, you have multiple houses on the property, and you have multiple generations on the property, right? So we raise our children. I raised my children. My children are adults. They're buying properties now. They're, building relationships. So when they need to go do something, what's ideal? We bring them all onto the same property, and it doesn't have to be 1 acre. It can be 10, 20, 100 acres. It doesn't have to be, but you have multiple houses on different sides of the property or whatever. And then those kids can come over and we can help raise those kids. And then when we're older, those kids can help, take care of you. You still have value as you get older. So you just really have to become the man that your woman deserves.
What you just described is Indian culture.
This
is why Indian family.
Like Native American or Indian?
No, Indian as in
India?
the people that move here and capitalize on what we could, but we don't live together and work together the way we should.
So you see it with, like we ran Mexican labor in San Diego, right? Because that's who sewed. If you needed a sewer, it was a Mexican person that showed up when you ran an ad. And then when you said, hey, I need some more people, how many do you need, right? That was always the question. And I'm like, 2? 10? We never found a limit. Whatever we said we needed, they showed up with the next day, and every one of those people could operate a sewing machine. And what we were seeing is, I never owned a new vehicle. I've never owned a new vehicle, like a brand new first owner vehicle, until I bought the Toyotas 3 years ago. I was driving beat cars and just putting money into keeping them running. But every month, one of my employees in San Diego, I would have an employee verification phone call because they were buying a new vehicle or a new house or whatever. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, what are you doing? How are you doing this? Right. They had 5, 6 families. Like we had 10 employees working at the shop that lived in one house. I rented an apartment.
Yeah.
They owned a home.
Yep. They lived to each other. Their grandpa and their grandmas, they lived together, And it's crazy because most of these older people that we're talking about, that are the lost generation, the ones that we,
the lost generation, that's it.
We're not going to get our knowledge from anymore because they're not here. They grew 1-2 acre gardens with no tractor, and they lived to be 90 years old and they were in great health. Now we see 30, 40-year-olds die because we're eating processed crap, and we've taken lifestyle and culture and thrown it out the window just for convenience. It's nice when we can have somebody babysit our kids, and then when our grandpa gets old, it's nice we can have somebody babysit them. What do we need, really? Like, what do you need? It's unbelievable.
So, yeah, and kids here grow up hoping to leave here. Kids in the city grow up hoping to come here. At least I did, right? I always thought I'd go to Montana or Idaho or someplace. I never did. I didn't even know where Tennessee on the map was, right? I moved here because of Yeager. Yeager said, come here, and I'm like, don't think I won't. He's like, you won't. A double dog dare you, right? I showed up. The day I was off probation in California, we flew out here the next day. We're here for a weekend, went home, moved here 30 days later. Abandoned probably 70% of everything that I owned, came here and just started over. And I didn't plan to do this. I planned to work in one little shop with 2-3 employees and just kind of grow a garden. And social media really is probably what changed. You know, we were doing that. And then with social media, it opened up revenue, right? Guys are like, well, how do I find the thing I love to do? I'm like, don't you know what you love to do? Yeah, but how do I make money? It doesn't matter. Let's not start with how you make money. What do you love to do?
Yeah. You got purpose.
Yeah.
You found purpose.
And now you can build an audience. Like you could do the most obscure stuff, right? Whatever it is. I like to come in here and lick this black paint on this shiplap, you know, whatever that is. There's some weirdo out there just as weird as you are that will watch that. So if you start building that content and building that brand, the people will show up that align with that. And you can change that, right? You can be going 12 o'clock on the clock, and at 12:01, 12 o'clock in 1 second, 2 miles down the road, it looks like the same place. But 10 miles down the road, it's a huge deviation, right? So the most valuable thing to have is the audience. Build the audience. You can deviate. The audience will ebb and flow, but the people will show up.
Yeah, the most important thing you can do is purpose in your heart
Absolutely.
Purpose in your heart what you want to do and what you're willing to do. No matter what, you know, what obstacle or what person is in your life that may be against you, purpose in your heart, you know, because.
Well, first of all, get the people who are against you, get rid of them.
100%.
Like, don't allow access. It's almost more important to remove the negativity than it is to add positivity.
Yeah.
And I've been huge on that lately. Like, it's not, what do you do? How did you do? It's not what I do. It's what I don't do. What have you removed, right?
Many people don't know what they want, though. You don't write it down. There's a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And if you read that book, it's constantly reminding you of writing down and having persistency and knowing what you want. And that's it, really. There's no secret potion. It's just literally writing. And most people that are super busy, right, they have lots of things to do. At night, if you're like me, you have to write it down. If you don't write it down, you're going to forget everything you're going to do.
So I'm terrible about, I don't read, right? That's probably biggest improvement I can make is probably reading. And I don't write things down. But what I do is I message them. Brando will get a message, and typically I've carbon copied 10 people, and to include Amanda. Amanda's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, well, I said this so that you'll ask me tomorrow, so it reminds me to hit all those guys up. Yep. But it's usually artwork or it's concept or whatever, and you have literally, you've got 3 seconds, right? If I've got some idea and I haven't put it forth to other people, I've already lost it because I've replaced it with something else in 3 more seconds. So I throw a lot of shit at the walls, and it slides down, and somebody catches it, and they're like, hey, good concept, what if we did this with it, right? So that becomes artwork for a shirt, right? Or I'll have something, I'll just be scrolling Facebook, I'll see something, I'm like, hey, I really like this concept. How can we make this ours without it looking like theirs, right? So I'll throw it to my guy throws me something, and then I'll throw it to Brandel, and I'll throw it to 5-6 other dudes. The dudes are like, hey, right on, that's awesome. I just stop fucking sending it to them, right? Because I'm looking for real input. Yeah. And that's him. You know, that's Austin. That's, you know, Jeff. I don't hear back from Jeff enough for him to really be included, but there's some dudes, and those are people we do business with, and those people have started business, and we're going to do huge business because it was important enough for them to actually put in real input.
Yeah. I email my shop if it's for my company, and then I write everything down or put notes in my phone if it's for me, because keeping it in my head all day long is not effective. You know what I'm saying?
I replace it, right? Yeah. Before we're going to do a podcast with Jeff, I'm in the shower, right? I'm up at 4:30 in the morning. I'm going to work out for an hour, which is really probably about 45 minutes of workout. I'm going to come in and do what I need to. I'm going to make sure the kitchen's cleaned up for my guy that's going to come in and prep lunch. I'm going to have as much stuff packed as I can so that Amanda can do her task and stay on point and not have to do that. And then I'm going to go feed the animals. And that takes 30 minutes some days, right? Then I'm going to jump in the shower. When I'm in the shower, I'm listening to current events, typically like Frisella or something. And I'll literally jump out of the shower and text a voice, and I'll just have it on notes. But what I've been doing is I'll PM it. I use Facebook Messenger for everything. I'll message myself. So I'll have this list, and I'll be in there, and I'm like, oh, I need to ask Jeff that. I need to talk to Jeff. There's a good topic right there, right? But by the time I walk out here, by the time I've dried off, put clothes on, and walked out here, I've already lost it all. So I have the notes. I have to have them.
I use my Google Calendar, and like for the next day at like 8 a.m., my phone's going to ring, and I've written down like 10 different things that I want to do first thing in the morning. You know, some that are phone calls and emails before I leave the shop, you know, or what video content I want to hit that day. But yeah, I mean, those things that hit you quick, those are the things that if you get it down, that inspiration is really going to make you go to the next level the next day if you get all those accomplished.
Yeah, Frisella has a thing called the power list, right? And it's like do three things. And when you look at the things that you need to do through the day, most of them can be done in a minute, 2 minutes, right? And you've already accomplished the things. Take the 3 tasks that are going to make the difference. We can stay busy in the building for 16 hours, but which one actually really makes a difference? And why do we keep putting it off? It could be done. And then you hear like Hermosi. Alex Hermosi talks about, he's like, the difference between people that really get high level shit done and the other people is that let me think about that. And you think about it for a week. Why are we thinking about it for a week? Just put it into motion right now. Are we going to do this or are we not going to do this? Is this a solid, definite no? Or is this something we're going to do? Because most of it doesn't require any physical action for the most part for you to put into motion.
Yeah, there's no work or device in the grave where you're going. So whatever you can find for your hand to do while you're here, do it with all your might, because there's nothing you're going to be able to do when you get there. So do as much as you can. Write down the list and do 100 things tomorrow. Do as much as you possibly can, because it only takes one to make your life so much better.
And stop doing shit that's not important, right? If it's not important enough for you to do it in an important, urgent manner, then why are you doing it? Stop doing that shit and do everything you're doing in an urgent manner as though it's fucking important. Things will change.
100%. And if you don't like to do it, that's the reason you're not actually treating it that way.
Right. And no, that can be a whole complete sentence.
Yeah. It's good stuff, man.
Tell me about that book that we were talking about earlier.
Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Tell me, is that what it was? No, another one we were talking about in the kitchen. 100-page book.
Oh man, Henry and the Great Society.
Tell me about that.
Oh man. Okay. So, hundreds of years ago, maybe even just 100 years ago, we all lived on a farm, right? And we had plenty of time to go to Mr. Wiggly's store. We had plenty of time to listen to the community as they came in, and Miss Henrietta had to go to the doctor, and this is what's going on with her, and the community gathered together, and they would gather around a fire, and they would cook a meal. We had so much time back then. But then this flag moved in, right? And then they set up city and local government. And after that flag, the townspeople came. They came to Henry, and they sat around the table, and Esther was there, and they said, Henry, now, you don't want to deprive your family of the good things in life, do you? You want the good things in life. And Henry had a farm at the time and had horses and cattle, and they didn't have electricity and conveniences, but they had time to spend with each other, right? And they went and they woke up whenever the sun was up, and they went to bed whenever the sun went down. But when the townspeople got involved and they made them think differently about what the good things in life were, Henry decided to get a mortgage. Henry decided to work a 9-to-5. And then before too long, the farm had a mortgage, and he lost everything he had in Mr. Wiggly's store. And instead of having a garden behind the store where he had his potatoes, Mr. Wiggly said, well, why would I have a garden when I can go to the new supermarket and buy potatoes for just $2 for a dozen of potatoes? So the mindset changed, and we left our lifestyle and our culture behind for convenience. But what we didn't realize is that at the end of the day, Henry was not happy with his choice, and no one is happy with that choice. Not only did we have what I talked about, lost knowledge, which is that knowledge to be able to take the advantage of what is already here for us, free 99 with just some work, having a beautiful life with lots of time and a wonderful big family and all the food you could possibly eat and all the shelter that you could possibly get. To go into 9-to-5 and working in a factory and having to spend just not even half the time with your family, so don't trade your lifestyle and your culture for convenience. Go check out Henry and the Great Society. You can actually type in Henry and the Great Society on YouTube, 4-hour video. I know most of you may work a job where you have to drive. The first time that I learned about the book and started actually diving into it, the first day I got the book done. It didn't matter what I was doing. I'm driven. Like I'm not going to sleep until I hear it all. I couldn't stand not to hear it all. But when you get to the end of the book, you're going to realize you were Henry living in the Great Society. And if we went back, if we could just get that lost knowledge and we could all go back together, and create a community to where, say, a black market, not black market, but you know what I'm saying?
No, that's what it is.
It is a black market. The black market.
Only because they can't steal part of your money, so they criminalize it so that you have to give them a portion of it.
Yeah, exactly. And this money, which is really fake, and you know, I go to the store and I get some food and I hand the lady the paper and I go, here's the paper that's useless. Now can I have the food that's going to feed me? You know, that
And
that
there's
money.
a question as to whether that's even food at this point. Do we really believe when you buy an apple at the grocery store, that apple's been dead off the tree for over a year?
Mm-hmm.
How does that apple still stay? Because you couldn't take an apple off your tree and store it for a year like
gas
that.
and
So,
plastic
yeah.
or paint, you know?
Yep.
So it just, if you want to change your perspective, because perspective drives performance.
That's right.
How you view what you do determines how you do what you do.
Your frequency is what you frequently see.
Ooh, I like it. And that's Andy Frisella to John Willis and John Willis to Tad. And that's how Tad got that message. That knowledge is power. Go check out Henry and the Great Society. You can actually type it in and you can order the book. It's like $10, 100 pages. Sit down with your kids, your wife, your family, and listen to that on YouTube or read the book. And you will have another perspective changed, a moment where you realize that you're doing what you don't need to do, and you need to figure out what you can do to be able to do what you need to do. So
It was important enough to you the day you started reading that book that you came here and told me about it.
yeah, I wanted everybody to know about it.
That's like the richest man in Babylon. That's another one.
Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon.
That's another story. That
He was the
and
Chaldeans.
And for guys that don't read, it's on YouTube. You can just listen to it
Yeah.
as you drive around and do your day.
Yep. He had eunuchs, Melzar and Ashpenaz, master of the eunuchs. Babylon stretched across the earth. Dreamed dreams, created a great image, made everybody worship that image, a golden image of himself, Nebuchadnezzar. But there wasn't a beast or a fowl that flew through the sky that wasn't underneath that man's kingdom. So it's a great story too.
Do you go to church?
No.
Why?
All influence is bad influence, John.
But you can quote most of the Bible.
I love it.
How come you don't go to church?
I don't want to be around people that when I read, if I don't see it the way they see it, then I'm looked at or I'm judged, or, you know, I just don't want to constantly be like having to, man, this right here is going to make some people upset.
No,
but
I
your
want you
friends
to
are
just do
fake
it
and
for
your
real.
family's fake. And, you know, I don't know, like, you know, when I changed my diet, that was one of the biggest, like, I was looked at like I was just a fool. And, you know, when I say it's the scripture, they're just like, oh, no, it's not that. And certain parts don't matter, and then certain parts do matter. And I'm like, whoa, well, it's just your interpretation. But it says it's of no private interpretation. So if Sally walked down the hall, jumped in the pool, that's what she did. Why I love the Bible is because it's changed my life. Daniel chapter 1 changed my life. You know, people say, well, where do you get your protein? Well, I say, where do you get your knowledge? Because whenever I changed my diet, I got knowledge, unbelievable amounts, just like Daniel and Nebuchadnezzar. This is how I know about Nebuchadnezzar, because the story about Daniel, it's an empowering story. Daniel purposed in his heart what he would do. That's
Well, what am I hearing?
they're
Helicopter?
coming to get me.
So what was the catalyst to, like, what prompted all this?
I got an herbalist friend. His name's Peter. He runs a clinic outside of his home and treats people with cancer and various ailments. And I went to this place called Meat Ministry, and it's this like camp with people from all over the world that come to be healed. And, you know, I went to Seventh-day Adventist Church for a while, and, you know, they kind of introduced me to the diet. And, you know, just when I read Genesis and when I read Daniel, really, Peter came to my house like 5 weeks in a row, and we just read the first chapter of Daniel. And I was, you know, not feeling so good. And I went to his house, and he did some stuff, you know, where he read my blah, blah, blah. And he just kept telling me, he was like, man, he's like, you need to read this. I read it. And then one day I decided, like, I'm just going to try this. And I did. And I've never felt so good in my life, man. But I mean, when you look at Genesis, it says, you know, when we were in the garden, I mean, there was a tree of good and evil, the knowledge of good and evil. So a tree that gave you knowledge, and then a tree of life that to keep you, immortal, right? And that's the reason God kicked Adam, Elohim kicked Adam out of the garden. Why? Because he said, we got to kick him out because he could eat of this tree of life now, because he's just like us. He knows good and evil. So he told Adam when he left, he was like, hey, He's like, you're going to eat out of the ground all the days of your life. In the sweat of thy face, you're going to eat bread. The herb of the field, with thorns and, thistles, you're going to eat that herb of the field. And, I just read all these things and how God blessed Daniel in the reign of Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar wanted him to eat the flesh which he ate and the wine which he drank, so nourishing him 3 years that he would teach the tongue of the Chaldeans, because he couldn't find anybody like Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, which he later named Belteshazzar, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He didn't find anybody like him. And before he when he told him he wanted him to eat that way, Daniel said, I beseech thee, give us pulse and water to eat, and judge our countenances, whether they be fairer and fatter than flesh than all the children which are of our sort. Long story short, he came back, he communed with Nebuchadnezzar, and it says, out of anybody in Babylon at that time, the magicians, the soothsayers, and the astrologers, there were none that were more knowledgeable and skillful and cunning, knowing science and all things, than Daniel and his 3 companions. Kept reading that story, and then gave it a try, and it's like my mind was just unclouded, and anything I do, I feel like God, he gave that to me. Before then, my trust and knowledge of him was not there. It says the beginning of knowledge is the fear of the Lord. That's what it says in Proverbs, the beginning of knowledge, right? But, it says in Revelations that we'll all eat of the tree of life, right? That has 12 manners of fruit, in Revelation 22. So, we're not going to eat animals in heaven. Am I against anybody that does eat it? No, God gave laws for it in Leviticus. He says the clean and the unclean animals. So, but Jesus ate bread, homie. My wife, she cooks spelt bread, and it's delicious and it's good for you. And I don't know, man, I lost 40 pounds, and, there's nothing that can change my mind. I feel great, and I don't even have to eat, really. Like, I realized I did a 5-day cleanse. I spent 5 days not eating food, just drinking this juice. And when I got done with 5 days, I wasn't even hungry, man. I felt amazing. So it's just, what you've been told is a lie. Your friends are fake. Your family's fake. Now, I'm not saying that is true for everybody and everything, but I'm just saying that what we are taught traditionally, it is not right, man. Otherwise, we would get rid of the Great Society, and we would all live the way we're supposed to live. So,
can you quote any other books like you quote the Bible?
No, man.
So why can you quote the Bible?
I don't know. I guess because it means something to me.
Because you read it thousands of times?
I hadn't read it thousands of times.
Or
no.
did you just read it, it's impressioned, and now you can repeat it?
100%. Like Daniel chapter 1, in the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem and besieged it. I can, from verse to that chapter right there, he stood in every chapter. He was before a different king, because in Daniel chapter 1 to 12, he was in Nebuchadnezzar in Babylon. And then it was Belshazzar, his son, and then it was Darius, and then it was Cyrus. So it went from Babylon to Media Persia to Greece and then Rome. And Daniel was a part of most of those. And it said he had an excellent spirit, like an excellent spirit. Everybody loved him, and everybody was jealous. And in almost every single chapter, there were people trying to kill him, trying to put him in. And he went to the lion's den, and then he went to the fiery furnace. And it's just like, it's so compelling. It's like, man. So I was like, I got to try it. And when I tried it, I was like, I got to be like Daniel. No matter what nobody says, I got to be like Daniel. I don't care what nobody says. It was tough, especially when your family looks at you differently. It was tough, but this is why I quit church. Because it's like, man, you know what? And I could go on. I could tell you things actually about death and, just different things, man. Ecclesiastes about death and what really happens when you die, but it's so compelling. But it's like everybody, and it says, beware of those Pharisees that love salutations in the market, right? Everybody would rather lie to your face, but give you a high five and have you smile at them than you to be for real. Like, that's one of the things people don't get about you, right? Like, you may say the F-bomb a little bit, right? Or you may be too real with somebody. But what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Yeah, but people love favor over truth.
Well, it keeps fake people away from you.
100%.
The church isn't in a building.
Yeah, it's not. Why are we spending so much money building big buildings? Why? Church, I mean, we're going to be in heaven someday, homie. You know? Right? I mean, so I love the truth, man. You know? And I love what's going to create a better me. You know, I have some habits that aren't good.
What are they?
I like to drink. 100%.
Does it keep you from anything?
No.
Does it damage your family?
No.
Change the way you raise your children?
No, it ain't like that. I know some people that Bush Light morning to evening.
What do you drink?
I love margaritas. I love tequila, and I really love every drink though. Honestly, you know, there's a guy that comes to the Self-Reliance Festival every year, homie. I'm going to be here in the evening time. He bring out some rum.
Oh yeah,
and my brother right there. And I'm like, come on, now get some of that. You know, but there's some habits I've got like that are not so good. But, you know, I try to do the best I can.
So what would it take to stop them?
Well, I've got that cleanse coming in 7 days, so I won't be doing anything but drinking those juices, 6 juices a day, 42 juices, 7 days.
What does that look like? Does that come in a box? Like, where's that?
Comes in a big box that's it's like frozen basically, or refrigerated, and 6 different juices every single day. It's excellent. It's from Pressed in Florida. They have a tropical fruit farm. They press everything, and I just feel amazing now. If you do have habits, okay, like serious habits, not like what I'm talking about, like you drink alcohol and you're trying to quit, or cigarettes, be strong. Day 2, day 3, you know. Day 2, you know, you're going to have some headaches. You're going to have some withdrawals, but if you stick with it, which I know you can, 3rd, 4th, 5th day, you know, because really, a lot of people get habitual and they use these things like food as a crutch, and they use these things in the wrong way, and it can hurt you more than it can help you. You know, we're told 3 meals a day, but do we really need that? You know, look at ice baths. You jump in an ice bath, what happens to your testosterone? What happens to, I mean, our bodies heal ourselves, you know? I mean, what do we need, you know? Cells break in half, create hydrogen. You breathe oxygen. What is that? H2O. You create water. You are water.
Are you doing ice baths?
No, I'm just giving a reference as a metaphor to, you know.
So
like
when you add an ice bath?
When am I adding ice baths? Yeah. Man, I need to add ice baths.
Why'd you quit? You used to come here and work out? I
did, man. I loved that.
Not to come work out with me or anything. You used to just roll in here and you're like, hey, I'm going to work out.
Every day. I did for 2 years.
Why'd you stop doing that?
I think it was moving back and forth, probably. I don't know, really. I mean, I love it. So I just really focused on content more in the evenings instead of going to work out. And then just I was really trying to pound that just content, just drive to just, so I was doing a lot of content. So that's really what I've been doing. You know, if you look at my channel, man, I post a lot of content, 250 videos a year.
I look at your channel.
Yep. 5 videos a week. I try to do 5 videos a week because I want 250 to 300 videos a year. So, yeah, but I love working out. I will be working out soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So, you can come use my ice bath.
Oh, you got ice bath?
Nope, but I'm getting
one. Yeah. Are we making one or are you buying one?
Well, we could make one or we could just buy one that'll show up on a semi-truck here.
Okay, cool.
There's a look. Yours will work great. Theirs will look pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Will you have to clean out the water every day?
No, it does all that shit for you.
Oh, legit.
Like we don't have to go buy. I bought all the bags of ice Rick had and put them in a trough, and it still wasn't cold. Like it wasn't enough.
Yeah, so
like we could ice bath through the winter, no problem, where we break up the ice. That'll work outside for 3 months out of the year. But yeah, this thing will run 34 degrees.
Yeah,
and it filters your water and does everything.
Man, that's cool. Very cool. So you are legitimately getting a ice bath.
Yes.
Why are you getting an ice bath?
Well, because it's mental toughness. It's extremely difficult. I had a hard time. I knew it was good for me. I knew I didn't want to do it, and I know that it's uncomfortable. I could be tired and take stimulants, and I try to not use any stimulants after 5 o'clock. Or I could go take a cold shower. And when I took a cold shower, I was rejuvenated, and I didn't need stimulants, right? So I knew there was something there. It didn't wake me up to a point where I couldn't sleep at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, right? I was good. I had the energy I needed to carry the next 6 hours. without not being able to go to sleep, right? So listening to all these guys talk about, especially Huberman, right? Just the benefits of 34 degrees, even whatever. So I was taking cold showers, and it was very difficult. Like I would creep it down from warm to cold, and then I'd be in there and just freezing, right? But then when I stopped dreading it, I'm like, okay, just do it, right? Just cold shower, boom. I can go from warm to extreme cold or complete cold. And I'm like, I'm really building a tolerance to this. I think I'm pretty good. I'm probably going to be ready for 34 degrees. Well, then I did a thermometer and it was 60 degrees, right? So it really wasn't that cold.
Yeah.
The one shower gets a lot colder than the back shower because that water heater's up high, whereas the water heater's on the ground in the other one. So I can get 50 degree water. I just know that I need to do that.
Yeah. We went to Fall Creek Falls State Park last week. Stayed at the lodge. I did a video. That water was cold. There's a little place where my kids could basically slide down into the water from this little waterfall. It was awesome. Super cold.
Yeah, we used to do it as kids, man. We would jump from, because you just wanted to swim. You didn't care. You didn't care what the temperature was. You'd go from the hot tub to the cold, and then your skin would be tingling. And we'd go to the ocean in the winter, and you're like, I want to go in the, like you could tolerate it, right?
Yeah.
Because you wanted to do it. And we've just, it's
Lost the passion. Lost that.
We've become weak.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to pick up that lost knowledge, do those lost activities.
Yep.
So we're too preoccupied though with the carnival. See?
Yeah, bread and circuses, absolutely.
Carnival's right here. We're
The
just
stadium, like where did all those coliseums go? Well, they became stadiums. They look remarkably the same.
modern day Rome.
Yep. All right, man.
Dude,
Thank you.
thanks for having me on, man.
Anytime.
This is awesome. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Give them all your information.
Yeah, my name's Tad. I've got a YouTube channel called TADDY Digest, which John loves that name. I've got a website.
John hates that name. John thinks that your name should say what you do and do what you say.
Yeah, but hey, you know what? It was funny. It made me happy, so I'm going to do it. But TADDYDigest.com, got a website, got merch. If you got trouble with your AC or you want to be a technician or a contractor, I'll give you every objection in the world for anything you want to do, because I want to make you conscious and thinking about what it is that you may want to do. Hit me up on YouTube. What else? There's something I want to tell you though.
Tell them about your music.
Yeah, I love to do music, but I need to make more time to do it, and it's something fun. It's my hobby. I just did a song with John Connor, and I've got my music on my channel, so go check it out. I'm on Spotify and Amazon and iTunes and all that. My last song went number 10. It was within number 10 on iTunes, Apple iTunes. That was pretty cool. It's called A Little Bit More with John Connor. It's pretty cool. But yeah, there's something I wanted to tell you. Don't trade your lifestyle and culture for convenience. I'll keep you cool if you let me.
That's a good one.
Don't forget to water your plants. And where's Scully?
Where's Scully?
Yeah.
Not going to take my land.
And you're not going to take my land away, homie. It ain't going to happen. What else, though? Remember, knowledge is power. Like most of the things that has happened, the catalyst was the knowledge. Keep good company. You don't want to turn into bad company. But better is a poor wise child than a rich foolish king. So, because a poor wise child is heard more in quiet than a fool who rules and cries among many. So that's what I want to leave you with.
So your son's 11 years old. Are you raising him differently right now than you did when maybe he was 2 or 3? Because you have matured? Do you think that that's matured? Would you raise your next child a little differently?
I would raise them the exact same way. I read to Jackson whenever he was young. I read him over and over the word every night before he went to bed. And I think that's something that, he appreciates, and, he doesn't go watch TV. He's not allowed. I control. He's not allowed to go to school. He thinks it's jail, honestly.
You think school is jail?
Yeah, he saw the school bus going by the other day, and he was like, "Those poor kids going to jail."
It very much is like jail.
But whenever he's quiet, whenever I don't know where he's at, if I go to his room, he's reading a book or he's crocheting. That's what he does. So it's excellent to see, because I want them to be productive. I can't have them be a chain that I drag around. I want them to lift me up in my old age, because it says, "Remember thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, where you will say you have no pleasure in them." I hope I said that right. But there's going to be a day that's going to come that you may not have joy in, right? But remember your Creator, right? And I hope my son remembers me. And, you know, you just remember that what I said about bearing your future, man. Your children are your future. You're creating little yous, okay? So you want them to be a better you. So you have to create that. How do you create that? By consciously thinking about what you need to be teaching them. So it's very important. I love having kids, man. When we left here earlier, we were riding down a back road to the next job. I just looked back at him. We had the windows down and he's crocheting, and man, I just had a feeling of just ultimate joy, man. I love that. So
Awesome.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for coming in, man.
Yeah, man. I love you, brother.
I love you.
Yeah.
Here, you can have some of this.
It's awesome.
We are SOE tactical gear. Watching what SOE can do.